All right, what up mains? Welcome back to the channel. In a previous video, just barely recorded and uploaded, I showed you how to use NSUserDefaults to save data, like a string, right? We used a string in that example. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to use NSUserDefaults to store UI colors. It's a bit different of an approach and it requires you to convert your... Bro, why you gotta be calling me in the middle of my recording? All right, and then it requires you to convert your color to data, and then when you get it out, you need to convert your data to a color. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so let's go ahead and start coding by creating a new Xcode project real quick. So boot that up, create new Xcode project, and I'm just gonna give this a name of UserDefaults UIColor or whatever. It doesn't really matter what you name it, okay? Now, I just set up my iCloud in a weird way, so I'm just going to put it on my desktop right now. And then I'll figure out where I want to put that later. And then let's go ahead and go into our viewcontroller.swift, and then let me show you what we're going to build, because I didn't yet show you, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so right here we have our application, right? We hit blue, it turns... We hit blue, it turns blue. We hit red, it turns red, right? Now notice how it's red. If I open it up and quit it out, and then I go back into the app I just built, it's still red, right? Now you might think, okay, but you could have just set the background color as red. Well, watch this fancy piece of magic, all right? I hit blue, it's blue, right? I toss that junk out of this place, and then I hit defaults again. I open it up, and look, it's still blue. So yeah, pretty magical. Basically, the magic that is making this happen is NSUserDefaults, okay? Now, if you went through my last video on NSUserDefaults, that like little tiny video that showed you the basics of how to do it with data, like a string, then you might think, okay, well, I'll just do that with a color, not a string. Links in the description if you want to watch that before watching this, by the way. It's easier than this. Both are pretty easy, though. And anyway, you might be wondering, okay, why are we making a whole new video when I can just use a color? And well, the reason is because you can't just use a color. The thing about strings is it's just data anyway. It's just bytes, right? So it's super easy to do. But a color is something completely different. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set everything up with these buttons, and then I'm going to show you how to basically store colors in whatever it's called, NSUserDefaults, and I'm going to be showing you this by writing extensions. So before we get into all that fancy NSUserData stuff, let's go ahead and just put a couple views on the screen, our buttons, right? So let's say let red is equal to UI button. Feel free to pause it and get it in, because I might type a bit fast. Leave a comment down below if I'm typing too fast or too slow. Just give me feedback and I'll improve the channel. And because I care what y'all think about the channel and what you want it to be. Okay, so we'll say red.setTitle, and we'll just say turn red. And then for control state, we'll just say normal. And then for the target, we'll say red.addTarget. And then we'll say self. And then we'll say selector, hashtag selector, self.red for UIControl.event, touch up inside. Okay, it's not giving me the autocomplete, probably because the function red doesn't exist yet. But yeah, touch up inside. Let's go ahead and write our function now. Let's say Objective-C function red. I was like, what am I calling it? And then in here, we're just going to say view.background color is equal to .red. Okay, now also, I wrote an article on this. It's in the description as well if you want to, if you prefer reading. It's the same exact code. You can also go to that article and just copy the code, or you won't really be able to copy and paste it, but you'll be able to read it all. It'll all be on the screen. Whereas I guess you could just go to the end of the video on this too, but either way, you just feel free to do whatever you want. Okay, so copy that function and let's call it blue, and then let's change the background color to blue, okay? Now, as you can probably imagine, what we're gonna do is write another button. So let's go ahead and copy this red button, all 4 lines, and let's just paste it and put button. Now I know that I'm going fast, so feel free to pause. If that's still annoying, like me just going too fast, just again, leave a comment. Like honestly, I like fast videos because I can pause them, but when I worked at a boot camp and I made videos, I remember people still didn't like that they were fast. So I guess it's personal preference, but just let me know. Touch up side, I meant to say touch up inside. Let's probably half the reason the autocomplete didn't work. All right, now we're good. Now let's reload our application, except for we're not really going to see anything because we haven't added it to the sub view. Okay, so what we need to do is also change this selector on this blue button and say dot blue. What the freak? Why was I saying button? Let's change this one to blue, not button. Okay, sorry for all the confusion, but yeah, it's all right here. So there it is. Okay, next thing we need to do is put these in a little stack view. So I guess if you don't know what stack views are, you're going to learn a bit about stack views real quick too. We'll say UI stack view, and we'll choose the initializer with arranged subviews, and then we'll put an array, and we'll say red and blue. Okay, next thing we'll do is we'll declare this frame of the size of the stack view, and we'll say stack.frame.size is equal to CG size. And let's just say that the width is view.frame.width divided by 2, and the height is view.frame.height divided by 2, okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to say stack.center is view.center, and you won't really see this stack. It's really just to get the other the buttons on the screen. So you won't even, like, that's why it was probably confusing as to why I'm doing a stack right now when you didn't even see it in the beginning. It's not something you see really. Okay, we'll say stack.axis is equal to .vertical. If you do horizontal, basically it's going to be flipped. And then we'll say stack.distribution, and we'll say is equal to .equal spacing, okay? Next thing we'll do is we'll say view.add subview, and we'll say stack, okay? Now the reason I did a stack view is specifically just because it's easier to apply a frame to one view rather than two different views, the button and both the buttons. So I found this an easier approach. Okay, so now you'll see we have our buttons. One of them is red still though, so well, they're both red, but one of them should be blue. So let's change this blue one to .blue. You probably already have, but yeah. So yeah, there we are. Okay, those are our views. Now, when we click these buttons, it turns them red and blue, right? So that basically looks like our app, except for you'll notice when we turn it blue, and then we close the app and we open it, it's still white, right? We want to change the color. Okay, so that's where NSUserDefaults comes in handy, okay? So I guess we're 7 minutes in. Sorry for taking so long, but we'll hustle. Also, let me know in the comments below if you like the longer videos or the shorter videos. I personally like shorter videos because I'm impatient, but some people like longer videos. I know that's how Brian does his videos. All right, so go up here and let's write our extension, okay? So the first extension is going to be, first it's all going to come from UserDefaults. We're extending UserDefaults class, and we're going to call this func set color, okay? What we're doing here is we're taking our color and we're setting it into our UserDefaults. So let's say UIColor, and I'm going to type a bit and then explain, okay? For key, and then we'll say key string, okay? And then that's our function, okay? So get that in, lines 11 through 15. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say var color data is of type NSData, question mark. And then we're gonna say if let color is equal to color, so if we indeed do have a color, then let's write a do try catch, right? Catch let error, and then we'll say print error archiving color data, okay? Now stand by, let me explain this a bit. Okay, we have this set color function. We're saying color UIColor, and for string string, okay? We have color data, NSData, which we haven't used or set yet, okay? And then we're saying, okay, if the color indeed was passed in, then let's go ahead and do something with it. And the thing we're gonna do with it might fail. So we're gonna have a catch to basically print out that it didn't work, okay? And it's not up to our brilliant code whether or not it's going to work. It's up to whether or not the phone basically allowed it to work. Okay, now this is where the magic happens. We're going to say that the color data, the data that we're going to save, since we can't save a direct UI color, we're going to say color data is equal to try, and then we'll say NSKeyed archiver, a coder that stores an object's data to an archive reference by keys, and then we'll say .archived data. And then we'll say with root object color. Okay, so get this. We're taking the color, and then don't worry about requiring secure coding. Let's just say false there. And then we'll say as question mark NSData. So basically what we're doing is we are taking the color and converting it to NSData. Okay, now if that works, then we'll say set, and then we'll say, and get that this is user defaults. So this set function belongs to user defaults. We'll say set, and then we'll say value for key. This value is going to be our color data, NSData. Notice how when we type color data, it says it's NSData. So again, we've converted the UIColor to NSData. And then we'll say for key, the key that we've passed in up here, okay? So this is a function that you can use for your future applications and stuff, right? Because you can have it for multiple keys. It doesn't have to be for the same area. All right, so you could have more than just a background color. Maybe you want a color for 5 different buttons. Like, I don't know why you would, but same deal, you know what I mean? Okay, now let's see what this is saying. It's saying conditional cast from data to NSData always succeeds. Okay, we'll just leave that and then we'll modify it. Well, what we should do is move this question mark to NSData and then put the question mark here. Okay, that should work. All right, so let's just make sure our application works. Should be good. And then let's use this to set our color. Now, before we can even test that it's worked, we're gonna have to get the color out too. But we'll walk through breakpoints. So I'll set a breakpoint here on 17 and 16 and then 13, and then we can just walk through it. I'll even put one on 19. I don't think we're gonna hit the error, but I'm gonna put it there just in case. Okay, so same app, still nothing works. But now we have this function that we can use. So let's scroll down. And if you didn't get that, just pause it and type this out. And let's go down here, and then let's say in red, let's go ahead and say when we tap that, we'll say user defaults dot standard, and then now we can say dot set color because we've just written this function. This set color function is this one up here, right, that we just wrote. And then we'll say for UI color, and we'll say dot red, and then for key, we'll say background color. That key can be whatever you want to call it, as long as we're retrieving it from background color as well. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for blue. So let's just copy it and put it in the blue function, and then obviously change the color to blue. Okay, so same thing. Now let's go ahead and reload our application. And then when we select one of these buttons, what's going to happen is it's going to run this function, and it's going to bring us up to line 12. And we're going to hit 13, 16, and 17, and maybe 19. I highly doubt 19. Okay, we're going to hit turn red. And you'll notice our application goes to 13. And then if you hit play down here in the bottom left, it's going to go to 16. It's going to try and unarchive it. Now, if it were to fail, or to archive it, not unarchive it, if it were to fail, it would skip to 19. It wouldn't hit 17. But if it succeeds, it's going to go to 17 and not hit 19. Okay, so it succeeded. You can see in the bottom left, you got all your color data. Now, it's really small for you, and I can't zoom that in, but you can look at that if you want. It's a little unnecessary to explain, at least for understanding how to use this all. So if you want to look at that, you can. Now, if you hit play again, it's going to be good. Okay, so we have just saved the red color in core data, or in NSUserDefaults. Now, if we swipe out of our application and reopen it up, it's still not going to work, because now we have to get it out of NSUserDefaults to actually see it, right? We can't just automatically, our view controller is not going to automatically know to turn this color, background color, red, just because that's stored in background color. What we have to do is get it out and then put it as the background color. Okay, so it's really simple. Let's get rid of these breakpoints. And let's write one more extension. We'll do it right below here. We'll call it function on line 24. We'll call it function. And then let's call it not set color, but color for key, okay? So we're gonna say color for key. And this key is gonna be key type of string. And you can probably realize what this key is gonna be. It's gonna be background color, or whatever we pass it in. We're basically gonna pass background color into this function and then find the color that's associated with that key, what's stored in that key. And we're gonna take that NSData and basically reverse set color, reverse this process. We're gonna unarchive it. We're gonna turn it into a color this time, not NSData. Okay, so let's go in here and let's say var color, just so we can have this UI color that we're gonna store it in. And then at the bottom, let's say return color. And then in here, we're gonna do a very similar thing with a do try. So let's say if let color data is equal to data, and then it's just gonna say returns the data object associated with the specified key. So really all we have to do is say background color, and that gives us our data. We're gonna get our red color data from there. this is now equivalent to a UI color of red. It's just that we haven't converted it to UI color, so it's not going to work. Okay, that's going to have those braces there. And then we're going to say do, all right, just a normal do catch, let error. And then again, let's just print out error unarchiving data this time, because we're unarchiving the color data. We're not archiving it. We're not storing it. We're taking it out. We're expanding it and turning it into UI color. Okay, now we're going to say color is equal to try, since it throws, the whole reason we have the do try. And let's say NSKeyed unarchiver instead of archiver. And then we'll say dot unarchived object of class. Okay, so imagine what class we're going to use again, UIColor.self, because we're trying to turn it into UI color. Okay, now from data, obviously from the data we've just converted, so color data. So we're taking this color data, which is in background color, and we're turning it back into UI color. Now, if for some reason a UI color wasn't stored in there and it was something else like a string, this is not going to work, and it's going to say error unarchiving color data. But since we know what we've stored here, it's going to work. So let's put some breakpoints in here, and let's just walk through it, okay? Let's see. And then we have to make this of type, a return type of UI color, because we're basically getting the color out of this. Okay, now let's save that, and we haven't used it yet, so we need to go ahead and we need to, let's see, it's saying, let's put a question mark right here, because we might return a UI color, we might not, right? Because if it catches, we're not going to return anything. Okay, well, I guess technically we would since we declare it there, but either way. Okay, so we need to go down here and we need to actually call it. Go back up there and pause it and type this all out if you missed it, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and then we're going to say on view did appear, okay, so type in view did appear and select the first selector or initializer or whatever you want to call it, constructor, and or just type that out, okay? Now in here is where we're going to get the data out and see if it's there, because it might not be there, and then we're going to set it. So we'll say let color is equal to UserDefaults dot standard dot color for key, and this is going to be background color, okay? And then if it's not there, we're just going to have it default be white, and then we'll say view dot background color is equal to color. Okay, now I hope you understand what's going on here on 72. We're basically taking the function we've written, passing in the key, and then we're going to hit these breakpoints. Okay, now remember we hit the red thing, so technically red is in there, right? And now it hasn't switched yet because we haven't yet returned the color and set it right into here. So if I hit play, we're going to go to the if statement. It's going to check if background color data exists. What do you know? It does. Now it's going to try and get a color out of that. And since we clicked red and we converted, we set the color data as NSData in there, it's going to work. And then we're going to return that color. And then we hit play and you'll see now that the background is red. So really simple, very confusing at first though, but really simple now that you've watched this video. All my videos are like this, at least from here on out. And I think that they'll really help you, okay? So if we hit blue and then we open our app and throw it out, and then we go back into our app, you're gonna see it's still blue. Now, let me just show you how that's working. I'll click that. Well, I guess you already know, but basically it's hitting that and then it's choosing the color, okay? Now let's throw it out one more time and you'll see that it's blue still. And then I'll throw it out one more time after changing it red. Okay, so red, and then I'm gonna turn it out, close the app and open it back up. And you're gonna see now that it's still red. Okay, so that's NSUserDefaults with UI colors. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, and please let me know if this video helped you. And go ahead and follow me on Medium, follow me on Instagram, leave your requests on my Twitter account. Basically, you know the drill. All my junk is all my social media is in the bio below. Now, let me know if you're interested in web content as well, because I'd like to make some web development videos and let you know how to do all that junk too. But yeah, that's it. I'll go ahead and I'll see you guys in the next video.